Okay, I guess we're live. Welcome to Functional Horsemanship. Here this afternoon I want to answer a question from an individual I got an email from, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name or state, but he wanted me to explain the one range stop. The one range stop. Well, typically, you know, when you're riding a horse, whether you're riding him a hackamore like I am, or even a mechanical hack, or some type of bit that's in his mouth, a one range stop, all it is you're just taking this horse and you're just moving his head to the side as he's moving forward, and that causes him to disengage his back end, because horses makes a hard time to go have any forward momentum with their head turned. You know, as you turn the horse's head. The dangers in that is if you turn his head too much and he's at any type of speed at all, like a fast lope or even a gallop, that horse can trip and fall and land on top of you. That's not really a safe thing. But again, it's called the one range stop. There's another stop, which is called a cavalry stop, and again, it's using primarily a direct rein on one rein, but it's also providing pressure on the other rein, and it looks something like this. You know, when you're moving forward. And if you can teach your horse that when you have some pressure on the reins like this, you know, to tip his head, to get his head low like that, put his face parallel to the ground, or actually perpendicular to the ground, and rounding up his back end, getting the weight off his front end, you're going to have a safer stop. I was up in these mountains that's in the back of me several years back, where a big cargo helicopter came over me and my partner. Well, big old helicopter hovering over us out there in the middle of the desert on some rocky area and some big arroyos spooked my partner's horse and bolted, took him out to the desert. And you know, my partner couldn't get that horse to stop. He knew enough not to twist that horse's head around on that one range stop and cause a big wreck out there in the middle of the desert in those rocky arroyos. He just let the horse run it out. You know, eventually the horse, you know, being scared of something bolted, you know, will eventually slow his speed and stop running. So that's what he did. You know, he lost a good hat and he lost some saddlebags as well, but he came out of it unscathed. He knew enough not to twist that horse. So what I do is I always try to put a stop on the horse, doing some groundwork first. I make sure that, you know, when I'm in the saddle, you know, if that I can get this horse to bend laterally under very light pressure. You know, pick up on the reins, bend him this way a little bit, very light pressure. And then when his head's forward again, you know, if I can pick up on the reins, put a little pressure on the reins this way, I can teach him to drop his head, you know. And what I'm going to do is, as I'm riding, whether I'm at the walk, the jog, the lope, or the gallop, you know, one of my cues for this horse to get him ready to stop is I'm going to lift the reins up a little bit, get him to drop his head. He associates that with stopping. Every time I do stop him, I'm going to back him up so he's anticipating that as well. And I'm going to do so by holding these reins more or less even, but maybe one rein a little lower than the other. You know, it would look like this if I was riding two-handed. And I'm going to sit low, put my heels down, just accentuate the set of my heels and my rear end going into that seat. I'm going to actually just stop riding, and I'm going to give him the command whoa. So what he's going to feel is we're going to be riding like this. The reins are going to come up just slightly, and he can feel that. And I'm going to put my heels down just a bit lower, quit riding, and go whoa. I'm going to demonstrate that here at a lope. Whoa. Okay. He's not a trained reining horse, and I'm not the person to train him either. You know, a lot of people put a lot of stock into getting that head bowed down, getting that nose perpendicular to the ground. What that does is round the body, puts the butt on the ground, gives you a better stop. But I want a safe stop. You know, I'll settle for a safe stop each and every time. So again, now this time I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a one range stop on him at a lope. Whoa. Okay. Again, a disadvantage of a one range stop, or a disadvantage of trying to pull up here and get him going, is if you mechanically raise his head on the ground, what's going to happen? He's going to want to come on that front end. You know, if he puts that rear end down low, comes out the front end, you don't want him tipping back over on you. So again, do your groundwork. Make sure he can flex laterally from side to side. With the slightest pressure, you want to get as light as you can. You want to start picking up that rein. No pressure on it. Let him feel that, and see, and he starts to bend over. You're still a work in progress. So am I, Junior. And to get him to drop his head on some rein pressure. Drop your head. Not your nose. Drop your head. Drop your head. Listen to me now. Drop your head. There you go. And again, that one rein stop is just cranking around on that rein here like this, disengaging his back end, kind of dangerous at speeds. So you want to be able to stop this horse by sitting down there, otherwise quit riding, giving that command whoa, and if you're going to pull on one rein, then keep his head straight with the other rein to keep that back end from turning around on you and you guys go flying over on your side, ending up with your horse on top of you. Hope this helps. Functional horsemanship.